Hi, this is Rick from For Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. How do you calm down someone who is escalated, angry, frustrated, yelling? And it's all directed at you. Or maybe it's directed at someone that you feel responsible for, and you think you need to calm these people that are engaged in escalation down. How do you calm down an escalated person and say, can we all just agree that we can use the word escalation? I mean, whether it's full out yelling, shaking fists, just getting frustrated, all of this falls under the same category of escalation because it all comes from the same part in the brain. It all may look a little different, but yelling, fighting, silent smoldering, giving someone the silent treatment, it's all reactive. It's all coming from the same part of the brain that's been activated. So back to my question. What can you do to de-escalate an escalated person? Well, man, all that and more is coming up in this video. This video is based on my interpretation of Proverbs chapter 9, verses 7 through 9. Anyone who rebukes a mocker will get an insult in return. Anyone who corrects the wicked will get hurt. So don't bother correcting mockers. They will only hate you. But correct the wise, and they will love you. Instruct the wise, and they will be even wiser. Teach the righteous, and they will learn even more. Here's the point of this video. I want to share 2 tips on how to de-escalate an escalated person. And I'm going to sound a little bit more like a therapist today than a pastor, even though this is coming from the Bible. In my practice, I speak with individuals who are in a relationship sometimes with someone who is maybe always angry. Or I talk to parents who have teens and they simply can't calm their teens down. Or I talk to people who have coworkers or team members that they can't calm down. Lots of scenarios around this idea. There are people around who seem to have a truly hard time staying calm, and for some reason, you're taking on this responsibility for them to be calm. And when they do get calm, sometimes it's super easy for them to get triggered and get re-escalated, and you somehow feel that you have the responsibility, or just you have a great amount of empathy to get involved and try to help. Try to be, the hero of the scenario. The people that talk to me around this idea of attempting to de-escalate an escalated person, they tend to be a little bit more empathetic than others. They want to help. They want a peaceful team to work with, or they want to help an employee who needs some support, or they want to help their spouse from losing their job, or just to stop yelling at them. Lots of scenarios. The empathetic or the nurturing or the mentoring or the dreamers of having a great team, they all want to know this question. Sometimes it's also a frontline worker feeling afraid and helpless by customers coming at them, escalated, and they're the focus of the anger, and they're getting hurt. And they want some magic words to use so they stop getting hurt. They're motivated to somehow get in front of an escalated person and calm that person down. So yes, that's right. I am totally going to talk about that in this video. And I'm also going to ask you to share that you can think up your own effective solutions that you've discovered as you attempt to calm down escalated people. And you're either going to share them, please, in the comments below, or please bring those with you, those comments, those thoughts with you this Sunday as we meet on Zoom at 1:30 p.m. or at 6 o'clock p.m. Okay, so 2 tips on how to de-escalate an escalated person. Okay, number 1, let's talk about calming the foolish and the evil. The text says, anyone who rebukes a mocker will get an insult in return. Anyone who corrects the wicked will get hurt. So don't bother correcting mockers. They will only hate you. I want to talk about the HR center of our brains. When things are going fine, and all the connections are being made and the brain is just humming along. We're feeling great. No problem. There's no center of the brain for love and joy and happiness. There's not a little piece of the brain that says this is where love comes from. This is where joy comes from. No. It's when the brain's doing fine, all the connections are being made, you're going to feel all those great feelings. However, when something goes bad, like when you get triggered, perhaps, there is an HR center of the brain that we all have. And we're going to call it because it is called the amygdala. There is a little center in the brain that kicks in either when you're angry or when you're afraid. And that puts you into either, that fight response, that flee response, or that freeze response. Fighting as an aggressively or just being proactive to create the safety around you that you need. Okay. Or running out of the scenario and getting to safety, or freezing in place because fighting and fleeing doesn't work. So you're just waiting for someone to rescue you. When the amygdala turns on, the bigger brain that you have, your cortex, it turns off. For example, if you and I were having a conversation in the middle of a community road, or a neighborhood road, and we're just shooting the breeze out in front of our houses, and a truck begins to come toward us in a 40 zone doing like 90 kilometers an hour, and we're going to get hit. We don't want our cortex on. We don't want the bigger brain where rational thinking happens, the deepest thoughts that we have. We don't want that on, asking questions. Hey, are those aluminum rims? Where'd that guy get that wonderful paint job? We don't want that to happen. The fear response is this. The amygdala turns on, and it turns off the part of our brain where we do our higher thinking, completely shuts it down. And the amygdala makes us either, fight, flee, or freeze. And hopefully if there's a truck barreling toward us at 90 in a 40 zone, the amygdala might say jump. And we would jump. And without thinking, maybe we jump into a mud puddle. And then the truck goes away and we stand back up and then we say, wait a minute, why did we jump in a mud puddle? And we could have just casually walked over to the sidewalk. But no, that was not ever a possibility, because when the amygdala is on, the cortex, the thinking part of the brain, is off. The part of the brain that's on when the amygdala is triggered, the part of the brain is on, is the part of the brain that says blink now, breathe now, heartbeat now, fight now, flee now, hiccup now. It's not where the best parts of your personality are found. The best parts of your personality basically are muted. They're turned off. You're just basically an emotional amygdala puppet. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. Everyone is responsible for their own emotions and their own behaviors, not you. If someone has this amygdala reaction, if someone is coming at you in anger, in frustration, they're just coming to let you have it. You have no responsibility at all for their emotions. They are responsible for their emotions and their behavior. They're the ones that need to calm down that amygdala, calm themselves down so they get their brain back and they can begin to think and act to you anyways, behave with you where the best parts of their personality and their best parts of their thinking are found. Words don't work with foolish or evil people, and they can't work because their amygdala is turned on. So for those of us who are frontliners or tend to be people who like to mentor, nurturers maybe, people who want to walk alongside others and give support, just say, hey man, stick in there, stick with it, you're going to be okay. When we are confronted with, or when someone comes into our life, comes into our scenario, whatever, and they're escalated, there is nothing that we can do to own that escalation that's in the other person's brain. They need to own the escalation that's in their brain. And chances are, any of the words that we want to use are not going to work. The words that we want to use may actually be further triggering, may actually be contributing to the amygdala staying on. So chances are, our best scenario when we're confronted with this kind of person, foolish, evil people, this attacky kind of person, is really a boundary. Say, nope, this isn't my role to de-escalate this person. This isn't mine to own. This is theirs to own. If you and I were meeting on Zoom, meeting in person, walking through Walmart and whatever, and you came up and saw me and you started calling me names, you started swearing at me, it would hurt my feelings for sure. I mean, if that stuff was happening. But my response is my responsibility. So if I allowed myself to react in anger, if anger was that emotion that I allowed to take over, and I began to treat you from a state of anger, that's not on you, that's on me. You can't make me feel anything. I choose the feelings really that I want to act on. I feel all the feels. It's not right or wrong to feel something. The feels are there. It's my choice which of those feelings to act out on. And if I'm going to allow that feeling to escalate me or not. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility, if you did swear at me, that's on you. But it would be my responsibility how I responded to that, not yours. You can't actually make me feel anything. That's totally on me. All right, so that's the calming the foolish and evil person. Chances are you can't calm a foolish or evil person if you're the target of their attention. You really just need to create a boundary and withdraw from the scenario. Give their escalation to them. Let them burn themselves out. Let them tire themselves out. And you just want to excuse yourself and not take on the heavy lifting of trying to calm that amygdala down. They need to own that, not you. Okay, here's the second thing. Calming the wise. Lots of good news around this. The text says, "But correct the wise, and they will love you. Instruct the wise, and they will be even wiser. Teach the righteous, and they will learn even more." Wise people will help you help them. If you confront a wise person about some form of thing that's going wrong with them, they're going to take out their pen and their paper. They're going to give themselves a text, put something in their calendar as a reminder to themselves to check in, to fix something. They're going to help you help them. Words work all day long. You want these people in your life. You want more of these people in your life, wise people. When it comes to a wise person and the amygdala, they tend to have a long road to the amygdala. Will they get triggered? Yeah, from time to time they get triggered, just like we all do. But they have a longer road. The people who tend to get escalated often, they've got a short road to the amygdala. As soon as some kind of trigger's there, bam, amygdala on, I'm overreacting. But wise people tend to have a longer road to the amygdala. So there's some kind of trigger point in their context. They pause. They do a safety check. Does my amygdala, they won't actually be asking themselves this, but this is in effect what's happening. Does my amygdala have to take hold of me or not? And for wise people, it will be rarer for their amygdala to take hold. You can only be responsible for your own side of a relationship. You can't be responsible for both sides of the relationship. You need to own what you need to own. You own your own emotional regulation. And wise people know that. Wise people will be self-regulating. You can't take on the responsibility of others. Others need to take on the responsibility for themselves. Give them some space so they can own it. They can burn themselves out. Maybe they can get arrested. It's not on you. It's on them. Wise people, though, they'll thank you. If you find somebody who helps you help them to correct their stuff, keep them close and use all the words you want with them, and they're going to be grateful for it. So here's my takeaway from this book of wisdom, the Proverbs here. Please, this is my opinion. You come up with your own opinion. I'm looking forward to hear from you, either in the comments or on Zoom, about where you have found effectiveness in calming down escalated people around you. So here's my takeaway that I'm going to suggest. Please don't take responsibility for both sides of the relationship. You're only responsible for how you show up. You're only responsible for your emotions. And of course, if you are speaking out of criticism, or if you are speaking out of defensiveness, the art of taking things personally, calm down your communication. Clean that up. because that's triggering. You can only own what you need to own, though. You can't be responsible for both sides. You can't be responsible for other people's emotions. So if you somehow find yourself in front of an escalated person, I think, in my opinion, the very best thing to do to de-escalate that person is to allow them to de-escalate themselves when you are not in their presence. That's the best thing. Just give them space and allow them to de-escalate themselves, because ultimately it's their responsibility. We all, as individuals, are responsible for our own emotions, our own level of escalation, our own behavior. We're all responsible for that. So you be responsible for you in living as a calm, non-escalating, de-escalated person. And then you put that responsibility on others. Instead of showing up as the hero, instead of showing up as the great empathizer, the savior of the escalated, don't do that. Allow them the space to de-escalate themselves. Okay, I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say about this text. So yeah, I showed up more as a therapist, I think, than as a pastor in this one. So that's it from me to you for now. Would you please like? Would you please share? Would you please subscribe? Would you please also ask for the link? You can come either at 1:30, or if you're a guy, you can come at 6 o'clock as well. 6 o'clock just for guys. For community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. I'll see you next time.